Hi everyone. Today our group will be presenting a topic titled The Problem of Rising Living Expenses in Malaysia. My name is Farah and I will begin our presentation with the introduction to this issue. In recent years, the cost of living in Malaysia has become an increasingly important concern. Many people are facing difficulties in managing their daily expenses due to the rising prices of essential goods and services. In this presentation, we will discuss what the cost of living means, the factor that contribute to this increase, the impact on different groups in society, and some possible solution to address this issue. Now, let us begin with a brief introduction to the concept of cost of living. First, it is important to understand what cost of living actually means. The cost of living refers to the amount of money that people need in order to afford their basic necessities. These necessities include food, housing, transportation, healthcare, and education, which are essential for maintaining a reasonable standard of living. One major factor that contributes to the rising cost of living is inflation. Inflation refers to the gradual increase in the price of goods and services over time. When inflation rises, the purchasing power of consumers decreases, meaning people need to spend more money to buy the same thing. In Malaysia, we can clearly see that the prices of items such as food, rent, and fuel have been increasing. As a result, many families are struggling to manage their daily expenses. This issue is significant because it can affect people's financial stability, quality of life, and ability to save for the future. I will pass to the next person to present.
Evidence and statistic. Let us look at some statistic related to the rising cost of living in Malaysia. Malaysia's inflation rate was about 1.6% in January 2026 compared to the same month last year. In 2025, the annual inflation rate was around 1.4%. Although the rate is not very high, it still causes the price of good and service to gradually increase over time. Next slide. Evidence and statistics. Another clear example is the increase in food prices. Prices of money, sorry, prices of food, beverage in Malaysia have been rising over the years. For example, popular foods such as roti canai, nasi lemak, and satay have become much more expensive compared to before. This increase in food prices directly affects people's daily expense. Next slide. There are several reasons why living expenses are increasing. First is the weak currency value, which make important goods more expensive. Second is inflation, which increase the prices of goods and service over time. Third, the increase in fuel prices raises transportation and production costs. Lastly, supply chain disruption can cause shortages and lead to higher prices in the market. Now I will pass the present to Pavitra.
Thank you, Namisha. My name is Pavitra Anapabar Murugan. Today, I'm going to talk about impact on student. The rising cost of living also has a strong impact on student. One major issue is the rent, where the housing costs are become higher. The expenses also more make students stressful. The second point is students may also face food insecurity, which is mean they cannot always afford for the proper meals and then the expensive meals. Because of financial pressure, some students need to take multiple part-time jobs to cover their their expenses. or which can affect their studies. As a result, this situation may lead to decline in their academic performance. And then for this slide, I'm going to talk about impact on families and working adults. Many middle class and working class families have to downgrade their lifestyle because of the current economy situations. And then we also have three main impacts. The first is the price of groceries remains higher, so families must create a tight household budget. The second is many families use their income only for their need, such as like food, rent, transportation, and for kids, stationery, books, kind of like that. The third one is higher interest rate, which is means some people with car loans or other loans must pay more interest, so they don't have savings. It's reduced their savings. This means a large part of their salary goes only for their loan payments. It's make it harder to save their money for the future. That's all. Thank you. Now I'm going to pass to Hidayatul, and that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Pavitra. Now I will present the slide about social effect. Economic shift create a ripple effect across society, impacting more than just our wallet. Uh, there's a three effect or problems shown in the slide. First is growth income inequality, which is income gap. The divide between wealthy and poor continue to grow, making it hard to close the gap. Second slide is increased debt and loans. Uh, this is, for example, financial strain. Families are facing a sharp rise in debt and reliance on loans. Last problem or effect is lower quality of life. This is impact on well-being population. This pressure lead to a lower overall quality of life and increased mental health challenges. Next slide is the solution from the previous problem of the effect. Because the social effects are so heavy, it is more important than ever for individuals to take this practical step. So first step is reducing unnecessary uh, reducing unnecessary expense. For example, for students, we will cut off a budget that will not necessary for our daily, so we can we have uh but we have money throughout the month. Second is budget planning. Prioritizing budget planning can help a lot of individuals to keep track on their money flow. Third is financial literacy awareness, which is individual have education on financial. Last last solution is income growth, which is increasing income or side job using through side job.
Hi, my name is Nur Naziha, and I'm going to present about the role of government in controlling the rising living costs. The first one, the government can do an economic reform strategy, which is why government need to do it mainly because they need to control inflation and maintain the price stability to protect the poor. As you can see, when inflation raised, the lower income family affect the most because most of their income are spent on the necessary needs like housing and foods. One of the economic reform strategy that the government have done is during the 2024 and until 2025 under the Madani framework, the government have began to moving away from the universal subsidy to a targeted subsidy, which means the benefit are more focusing on the lower income group rather than being a board-based subsidy. The second one is minimum wage adjustment. Government can increase the minimum wage adjustment mainly to protect the lower income worker from the raising costs, especially to those who live in developed areas such as JB and Kuala Lumpur. As you know, these areas have higher living costs if you want to compare to other location that doesn't really develop. As evidence, this situation can be seen when started from the 1st February of 2025. The government has increased Malaysian minimum wage from 1,000 and 1,500 to 1,700 per month. The third one is price control policy. Why government need to do a price control policy? Because they need to protect the consumer purchasing power and stabilize the cost of living. This situation can be seen a lot during the festival. Kementerian Perdagangan Dalam Negeri aka KPDN will enforce the price scheme for a selected product. Maybe I will say for Hari Raya Aidilfitri, they will set up a scheme price for chicken and beef to make sure that Malaysian people still can afford those essential goods even during the peak demand hour. The last one is subsidy. What is subsidy? Subsidy is a form of aid that's provided by the government. When government provides subsidy, it helps a lot in lowering the cost of production of essential goods. So that seller can sell their product in lower price and Malaysian people can buy the product at an affordable price. For example, the government have provided a subsidy for 1 kilogram cooking oil packet, which be sold at control price RM2.50. And to buy these subsidy goods, we need to register to an apps under KPDN called eCost. This apps is designed mainly to monitor if the subsidy goods are going to the right targeted group rather than being smuggled out by irresponsible individual. Next one. To conclude, we can see that the cost of living in Malaysia is still going up. So mostly because of the inflation and the economic challenges that we are all facing right now. We can feel this feeling the most when we are doing a grocery, in our rent, and even when we try to get around. It's putting like a lot of pressure on everyone, especially for students and the lower income family. So to deal with this, it really takes a team effort, and we also need the government to step in. We also need the government to step in with a good policy, but we also need to take in our own step as individuals. At the end of the day, this isn't just about the number, but the raising cost living in Malaysia is a serious issue that affects the quality of life for every Malaysian. That's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, that's all from us. Thank you so much.